Welcome everybody to Calculating Learning Success with Abilities Learning Portal. Wanted to give a quick introduction to myself, and then Bjorn is going to give an intro to Ability. So I am VP of Engineering here at Ability, and I've been building education software for a while now in a variety of contexts, higher ed prior to Ability, ex-SpaceXer, and never miss an opportunity to highlight my three incredible children and wife. I'm very excited to be here. And let's jump over. So the agenda for today is we'll talk a little bit about Ability, give you an overview of the portal, kind of the vision for what that's going to look like and what we actually are trying to deliver, walk through individual features, and then we'll have a demo and save some time at the end for questions. So as you are going through this first part, feel free to jump in chat. I will definitely be monitoring the chat as well for any questions. And that, I'm going to turn it over to our Chief Executive Officer, Bjorn Billhardt, who will tell you, I think most of you are probably familiar with Ability, but if you're not, he's going to share.
Yeah, it's great to see a few of you that are here on the webinar. I recognize as existing clients. This is primarily a webinar, I think, for people that already are working with us. So great to see you here. But I do want to kind of just give 5 seconds of an introduction to what we do as a company. For those of you that actually are joining this without having used one of our leadership simulations or leadership programs. So we've been in the leadership development space since 2015. We've had over 100,000 participants in a lot of countries, as you can see, go through our mini MBAs and leadership development programs. And to give you a little bit of a context for what Trey is going to be talking about today here with you, what happened is, before the pandemic in 2015 through 2019, we grew very nicely as a company. It was a fun time. It grew nice and slowly here in our headquarters in Austin, Texas. And then in 2020, the pandemic hit, and all of a sudden, we found ourselves in a place where we had a really exciting virtual delivery option for leadership development programs using interactive simulations, immersive simulations, and in areas like business acumen, people management, cross-functional leadership. And we found ourselves becoming very popular. And so our user base, our participants grew quite exponentially. And so our internal systems, starting with the pandemic and continuing through 2.5 years now of 50% plus growth, really started to wobble. And so what we decided to do about a little bit over a year ago is to say, what if we reimagine the cohort experience, the way that we are running it, but with a modern and flexible, customizable system that allows clients to have full visibility into all of the various sessions and tasks and homework assignments and emails that get sent to participants. What if we create something that allows all of our clients to instantly see who's participating in each session, to measure what is being learned, and to put all that not in a cobbled together system like we've had before. And those of you that are clients have known our existing system for a while, thank you for your dedication to allowing us to deliver our world-class content, even on a platform that was at times a little bit clunky. And what we have done over the last years, we really have said, let's do this right, and let's start from scratch. Let's imagine a new portal for Ability that takes into account the new way in which people learn post-pandemic, which is a lot more virtual, in smaller chunks, where programs get chunked up into multiple sessions over multiple time zones with participants from different corners of the world. All that has to be coordinated. What would a learning experience platform, a learning system look like that allows for the seamless integration of the faculty, the producing staff, the clients that are managing programs, and the participants, where everyone gets to see and experience the award-winning programs that we are running here at Ability in a new way and in a better way. So with that quick introduction, let me turn it over to Trey to give you a sense for what our portal looks like now and also what we have in store for the future.
So to get started, I would love to get some feedback from you guys. So we have some ideas about what we're building, and we've talked to a lot of customers. We've built out some things that we think are really exciting. But I actually want to start with getting from you in the chat, if you're able to or willing, to talk about some of the biggest challenges you face when deploying your learning programs today. So those could be things like learner onboarding or headaches around visibility into programs. Changes to schedules and learner availability. That's a huge one for sure. We see that pretty happen when one change in the program then cascades out to informing learners, faculty members. How do you make sure everything calendars stay up to date and in sync? Simple ways to onboard learners, Christine says. That's a really good one as well. We hope that we have some solutions there. Anybody else have any challenges they face? Maintaining interest, Stephen, thank you so much. Absolutely, maintaining interest and energy. How do you actually measure engagement, and how do you modulate engagement? That's a really huge one. Hopefully we have a few things to at least help with that. So I have another question. How do you currently measure the success of your learning programs? Oh, and by the way, on the last one, I see material management and distribution. Absolutely. Curriculum. How do you get your materials in your learners' hands? But how do you measure success of your learning programs today? Surveys. That's one for sure. We utilize surveys here and have that as part of the platform as well. Yeah, just in the program surveys. That's actually probably, I think, the primary one is attendance numbers. Also, Stephen says some metrics. Oh, retention, employee engagement, promotion rates. That kind of data internal to the company is really huge. It's a really important one as well. Promotion rate. That's a really interesting one as well. I think if it's meaningful for the course, promotion rate, if it's meaningful for that course, et cetera. I think that's a more difficult one to tie back, but then, I think you can see the impact and ROI on these programs over time. Well, with that, I'll jump in and talk about how the Learning Portal might address a few of those things. So what we think we're building is something sort of novel, and that is a cohort management platform that's deeply integrated with the way Ability does things today. And then also how Ability is planning on what we think the learning industry is going to do in the future. So it's got a very lightweight LMS. This is not one thing I really want to, kind of tell you up front. We're not building an LMS off the shelf. Don't think of this as or a learning experience platform either. This is not Google Classroom. This is not Canvas or Blackboard. This is more around how do you develop and deliver immersive, really engaging cohort-based programs at scale that drive data-driven decisions and have seamless integration with your existing tools. So one of the things that we've realized is that people are going to use this in a variety of ways. So for some folks, you may not actually have a learning experience platform. And some of our smaller customers, maybe they're just running a few programs a year. And for them, our learning portal may be the entirety of what they do for the learning journey. But for lots of others, we're going to have a place for you to integrate into your LMS or your LXP to allow you to go through our platform and onto the simulations. We also think that these sort of faculty tailoring of the content is really huge, and faculty being able to address exactly what your learners need is one of the big goals of Arrow. So the vision for the portal really relates to the Ability mission statement at a the high level. So Ability's mission is to create world-class experiences that inspire, shape, and develop through highly differentiated learning programs, tools for self-discovery, and networks that expand opportunities. And we think that the first phrase there, experiences that inspire, shape, and develop, that's our easy cohort management that gets you into these world-class simulation experiences. And then we can deliver highly differentiated learning programs because they're customizable. You can put your own content in. We have resource management, material management built into the platform. We also have then these tools for self-discovery. And self-discovery, in my mind, looks like a faculty member drawing out those aha moments. And when you have an aha moment, it's really incredible. And what this learning portal can do is facilitate those by letting the faculty member know what to focus on. So through pre-assessment, through engagement data, they can know where they actually need to dial in and deliver that value to the learner. So let's talk about where we are today versus where we plan to be with the portal over the long haul. So today we have customization. We just talked about. You can set dates and times that cascades out and updates the faculty member. You can set your own custom sessions, tasks for the learners to complete. You can add in a curriculum that's applicable to your learning programs. We also have the scale and repeatability. So imagine this light bulb on the left. That's that, like, we're sitting around spreadsheets everywhere, and everybody has email communications, and there's 5 different sources of truth. And for this portal, we want to have a single place that people can come in, run a program, and then if you take that program, and oftentimes you're going to run it for another group of 50 or another group of 50 100 times. In fact, we actually see that happening now. We have lots of programs that are run, and there's a template that gets copied over and over and over again and gets rerun. Of course, measurement of learning outcomes. We talked about the engagement dashboard a little bit, and then the centralized curriculum and resource library. So how do we maintain, manage materials, get them into people's hands where they can actually engage with the material? But that's not where we want to be. That is where we are now, and we definitely have a vision for a bigger platform in the future. And that is, we'd like to have even a broader sense for this curated market for world-class learning modules. So we think one of the biggest differentiators of Ability's offerings are these really great immersive experiences that drive a lot of value, oftentimes in a very short period of time. And then often with wraparound support in terms of pre-work and assessments. But we want to actually have the world's greatest DEI module also plugged into this platform and available for you to pick up. The world's greatest negotiation module available. And that is going to be something as we build out. If you're on the Ability platform, you should add value over time as we unlock these new learning modules. We also expect to build more integrations with other LMSs. So reporting back that engagement data into your own systems, being able to also integrate with your login systems via single sign-on. And we have the idea of this expanded faculty network. So as we allow our platform to be both sides of a marketplace for learning modules, we also allow the marketplace for faculty, really, really great faculty. And the Ability Faculty Network, I know many of you on this call have experienced that, is just incredible. And as we scale that up and have that offering, it's something that plug in to your learning programs directly. And that last bullet point is just the idea of scale without compromise. So how do I run through 500 or 1,000 learners, or even 100 learners, but 5 times? This platform is going to be able to allow us to very accurately track all that data, get everybody in, and then scale up as far as we need to go. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what actually, we say a lot of things there, but tactically, what does it look like to supercharge learning through this portal? Let me actually take a quick pulse check on everybody. What is, if you were putting in chat, what is the thing you're most interested in terms of the learning management system that we're talking about today?
And I see that both obviously existing clients as well as some new clients here. So it's probably harder for some of the folks that don't know what we do to answer that question. But those of you that are existing clients, and I think I see a few facilitators here as well. What a I may have just shut down the debate here. Sorry, Trey.
No, that's okay. And if there's not anything specific, we can just jump in. I love to get some quick check-in on what interests people. Scaling a program from one cohort to many, absolutely. That's a huge thing. Well, let's just jump in. So let's start from the beginning. So oftentimes we at Ability get tracking of takeaways and learning objectives. Absolutely. That's a huge one. So often, as an engineer, I get really excited about building systems and building these great intranet platforms for running our business and for managing all this data. But really, it starts with the learning journey on the participant side. So how do you get people onto your learning program in a seamless way? And once you get them in, how do you actually keep them engaged? I think it was Stephen earlier who said that, actually getting people to keep attending, right? Keeping their interest, that's really huge. Making it easy for them to get to what they have to do next, but also make sure they show up to the right session at the right time is a huge part of this platform. So we're building calendar integration. So the ability to one-click subscribe to a calendar and get that any update that happens down the line added to your Google or Outlook calendar. Also, course progress tracker. That's another tracking of takeaways, learning objectives, being able to see where you are and jump right back in. Realistically, with asynchronous content, we see people using it on their phone, and maybe it's on the subway, maybe it's on an airplane ride, and I jump in between different devices, but then being able to pick it back up exactly where I left off and with some assessments to see how I'm doing as I go along. And like I said, the idea that you may be using this on your cell phone. So responsive design, making it mobile friendly, making it usable from a cell device. It also integrates with your existing tools. So like we said before, you can have sort of two big on-ramps into these programs. There is actually really three big on-ramps, but we'll talk about the first two first. So registration, maybe you want your participants to do some pre-work, to do some tasks, and you want to track whether they've completed those tasks or not. We have a very easy, quick, shareable link that you can send out via an email or even send an email from the platform to all of your participants. They will get that, be able to log in, and they're automatically in the program with all the sessions, and they can immediately subscribe to the calendar and make sure they have all those right invite links. Or maybe you don't want your users to register. Everybody is security conscious these days, and also in some cases, it doesn't actually make sense for maybe you're just sending users to a day-long training on our executive challenge simulation, and it really makes sense just to get them in and make sure they're there at the right time. So we have a shareable public link that goes directly to a page. It has a little bit of security built in. The link is randomized enough that there's not, it's not guessable from an external perspective. But once you share that link, a participant of this program can then click on join session, and they're right in the right Zoom at the right time. And that session link just becomes available at the time of the program. But also get them onto the simulation environment if that's part of the program as well. We also have a really exciting project that we're working on as we speak to add single sign-on. And single sign-on is going to be allowing your organization, if you already have this built in, whatever sign-on method they're using to sign on to the platform there as well. That means you just have one sign-on, if that's your at yourcompany.com email address, logs you into the platform and gets you to the simulation and gets you to Zoom, and you don't have to do any cumbersome additional accounts. So that onboarding process looks like this. If you share that link, you'll see the program card here with information about the program and a quick first name, last name, email, and password, and you're in. Once you're in, it looks like this. This is the programs view for a learner. A learner might be going through multiple programs at the same time. Most cases, probably just going to be one at a time, but they would also be able to see any past programs with the curriculum and the resources that they had at that time. The program view gives you the resources and courses that you need to take. It also allows you to check off tasks and gives you sort of the timeline of when those tasks should be completed and the timeline of upcoming sessions. The calendar function we just talked about is pretty exciting as well. That allows you to add individual events to your calendar, but it also allows you to subscribe to the calendar, and that link then becomes part of your Google Calendar or Outlook and changes as soon as if any of the events change, you'll get that directly updated on your calendar. We talked about the two different methods for getting people on. Either the registration link, which allows them to register and have an account so that they can track their progress and come back at any time. But we also have the public link that allows learners to get in without ever having to register. Both methods are sort of equally valid in this platform. And we understand, it might make sense for you to take this public link, copy and paste into Google Classroom, and set up the actual program there. We support that as well.
And before you move on, of course, the other ways that we have used, kind of registrations in the past is uploading from a spreadsheet, right? And
that's right.
Yeah. And so all those functions that those of you that have been clients with us for a long time are used to are still all in there. You can upload, you can manually enter, you can remove people. So all those functionality pieces are still in existence.
That's a good point, Bjorn. And when we get over to the demo, I'll make sure to demo the idea of the bulk upload and the CSV creation there. Next big feature piece is the engagement dashboard. And so when we talk about measuring learning outcomes and being able to track if your learners are on the path towards getting the value they need out of the program, but also being able to tailor the learning based on what's happening in the assessments or pre-work. So we have basically the ability to see when anyone starts a task, how long it takes, and when they complete the task. We also track when they go through if they have a course as part of their learning, how long does it take? When do they stop? Where do they fall off? And that's actually a really interesting one is, I made my way mostly through this finance course, but then I dropped off at chapter 3. Is that because chapter 3 had a big jump in terms of complexity, or was that because I realized that actually, this is not applicable to me? I'm a finance major and have all of this in the bag. So you can download and share that engagement data as well. This is a basic view of what the engagement dashboard looks like. This is tracking attendance numbers. And then we'll get in this a little bit small on the screen here, but imagine that as a facilitator or a program manager, you're looking at this data and you realize that actually for the pre-assessment of this Fluent in Finance course, almost everyone missed question 15. You click into question 15, see what the content is there, understand what it was that everybody is missing, and make sure to nail that down during the simulation experience or the program where you're talking about bringing up those concepts. All right, we also have the idea of this sort of deep integration with ability simulations. So we have I think many of you on the call have used ability products in the past. And so our simulated learning environments, if you have not, are between 4 and 8 hours of gameplay in a web-based environment. And that requires you to be put on teams or in pairs of individuals. This portal is the only place that you can possibly preset those rosters, put people into groups, massage the groups. Maybe you make sure that one person is with a group that they're not usually in, so that when they do have conversations in breakout rooms, they're inside of a group that's going to be conducive to their learning. We also have some really interesting auto magic. I call it auto magic features. Those
I
are
thought this may be a typo, but no, it's
no, definitely auto magic. We try to based on sort of our best practices about how rosters should be set up and the number of teams, number of people per team. We set that up. Although what we found is that people oftentimes do want to do that customization of who is with whom in a group. And so being able to dial that in while still being able to use the auto magic features is coming soon.
Yeah, and I know there's a few of you here again on the call that are not familiar with our simulations. So for those of you that are new to Ability, this is really important because in our simulations, each person takes an individual role in a company, and has to go through multiple quarters competing with other peers for business, for market share, for employees. Going through these difficult situations. That's the heart and the core of what we do so well here at Ability. And so what was really important as we were developing this course management system is that there would be a link to our simulation, so you can easily set up the rosters and move them around. And as Trey noted, there are some improvements there coming soon for those of you that are using this functionality now in our new system. We're continuously improving the ability for people to get put into our simulations in an intuitive and easy way.
And if you've used Ability Sim in the past, you know that they oftentimes only come online a few days before the event. We're actually working on an improvement now where you would have that available from program creation on, so that you can preset those rosters, experiment around, run through some gameplay experiences. So that's really exciting thing on the horizon as well. Not to tease too much of the great big product roadmap, but is really exciting on the horizon.
There's a lot of really great stuff already in there today.
We also have, as part of the roster, we have the attendance tracking function. So you can toggle people off. You can put them in groups, sort by the groups or sort by name, and check through who actually is available. That then reflects into the engagement dashboard, and you can track. It looks like actually Grace has only been to the first two events, and then she didn't attend anymore. Is there something going on there? Maybe you could address that more directly. And so last thing on the actually there's two more items in terms of the feature, and then we'll jump into a demo. We have the ability to do faculty selection and be able to indicate inside of this tool what faculty would be the best for the program. So we have attributes that we collect during our faculty onboarding about what languages they speak, are they certified in certain sims, even industry experience. And during the ability to, when you're looking through our faculty network, you can filter out and say, actually, I need someone who is great executive challenge, who speaks Spanish, and who is in the automotive industry. And there's, two of our faculty float to the top. So it has a really interesting, sort of implications for how you staff programs.
Yeah, and let me drill down for just a few seconds on this one in particular as well, because that is actually has been one of the big drivers of why we wanted this integrated platform. Because in the post-COVID world where it used to be that most scheduling was done pretty easily, not easily, but more easily when it was in person, right? And in this virtual world now, where classes are being broken up into smaller and smaller chunks, rather than a half day or full day, it's 2 hours here and then 2 hours next week. One of the things that has become a real problem for, I think, everyone that runs virtual programs around the world is just matching faculty availability and kind of the availability of everyone, to come together virtually in one place, and having also the right faculty. So for those of you that have been working with our amazing client experience directors, they will continue to be there and hold hold your hand as you make the right faculty selections. They'll have a lot of knowledge about which faculty really would resonate well with your company and with a particular audience that you may have. So you will continue to be able to count on those individuals to help you make those selections. But you also now have a tool that you can go in together with your client experience director and just take a look at which new faculty members may have industry experience as well and may be available in Singapore time at 9 a.m. right? And so the faculty has both kind of all those characteristics in terms of what makes them special. They have a short bio there as well. You can look at that, and they have their availability on our system, so you can easily see whether they would be available to run your program.
That's right, Bjorn. And we also have the time zone thing is one of the most difficult problems to solve for. And we do have a great global faculty network, and they're oftentimes even in transit. And so, well, actually, I'm currently in Mumbai, and so Mumbai time works for me. And we have a bi-directional communication system with them so that they can indicate their availability, also indicate their interest. And so we can match up with people who really are excited about running these programs and are in the right time zone.
Yeah. And while this is primarily a tool designed to run our ability programs more smoothly, you will have the ability to add your internal facilitators. And eventually, you can also see if you can run your own programs without even, an ability program present. If you're using the system internally and you want to use it as a learning experience platform, we're not selling it standalone right now. We're going to see what the market demand for that is. There are a lot of tools out there already. But we can see many of our existing clients, using this tool, inviting internal faculty members who have been trained up in our solutions, so that you can use this as well to schedule internal faculty for various courses, ability courses around the world.
Absolutely. Last feature we'll talk about is a new one to the platform, new one to Ability generally, and that is our support for open enrollment programs. So let's say, just as a scenario, you have a high potential program you're running where you'd like to have applications as part of the process. You'd like people to fill out a bio and get matched to the program only if they're actually right for that program. So we have application only programs that once you receive the link, you can apply. There's an applicant tracking functionality inside of the platform as well. So you can just, yes, that person's great for the program. No, they're not a good fit, and reply back with the reasoning.
Yeah.
So really interesting, especially from the perspective of creating, maybe more open enrollment internal to you programs.
Yeah. Or high potential programs where you have an application and you want people to register their interest in a program, but then create a kind of a barrier where you select people for various programs. So that's also a possibility.
And yes, that is a Harry Potter sorting hat. Okay, let's jump into a demo. And I'll try to focus kind of on the main features. I'm not going to go into a big comprehensive demo of everything that we can here. And I would like to make this more interactive. So we'll monitor the chat. Would love for you to ask questions, point out something that you'd like more clarification on. I can't promise that everything is perfect. We're always improving the system. And actually, we're running this in a demo environment right now. But it is interesting to focus from the perspective of, end to end, what does it look like for a learner all the way up through managing the engagement of those learners. So I'll start here, and actually need to start here just to be able to show you the things we talked about. So we've got the public link, or we've got a registration link, but I'm going to copy a registration link for this program, and I'm going to, act as if I've sent that out via email to some clients. And I'll open up a Firefox tab here to serve as my my second user to be the participant. And if I open up that registration link, you'll see the webinar demo dates. I can sign up. I can say I am Rick Astley.
I knew you were going to use Rick Astley the second you typed in Rick, Trey.
Now you got Rickrolled in your head. You probably thought of it. Okay. Put a password in, and I can create that account. And I'm in here in the program. And so first, up on the left, I've got my learning portal. I've got a calendar with all my dates on it, any kind of dates that are applicable to me. I've got my profile that I can fill out. I'm not required to fill out a profile, but I can indicate sort of data about me. Like if for example, you wanted a cohort directory. But if I go back to the portal and view the program, I can see, oh, actually, this program has some pre-work for me to do. So I'll open up the Fluent in Finance course, which is not working because I'm in a test environment right now. So I'll switch back over to my typical demos. Here, and I click on Learning Portal and open Fluent in Finance from this side.
There you go.
And you'll see that actually just a bit ago, I started the pre-assessment. And I'll go through and answer a couple more questions. And I can jump ahead into the chapters that are applicable to what I'm looking at. And I do want to point out here that this is the mobile-friendly part. You're able to view all of this and interact with this course directly on your phone, which also that calendar invite that goes to your Google link will link you here, and you can use that from your phone directly as well.
Yeah. And again, for those of you that are new to Ability, you may think, oh, what Ability does is, simple online learning, articulate courses. What you just saw was just the prelude, the pre-work to our engaging interactive simulations. So we obviously have a homework as well. We have some really engaging interactive online pre-work tools and assessments and things like that. But that really was just the preface, if you will, to the actual sessions.
That's right. And if we go back over to we'll see that actually on August 14th, we had this session. We have another one coming up on the 22nd to play our executive challenge simulation. This tells you a little bit about what the executive challenge is, who your facilitator will be. And again, I could subscribe to the calendar here and add that to my Google Calendar, or I can actually see on a calendar when the dates will be. And print is that as well for those of you who are still paper users. Okay, back on the other side, I'd love to jump in and just show what that integration with our simulations looks like. So imagine that now I've joined the session and I'm going through as a participant, and I'm the Rick Astley person who just registered a little bit late for the program. And actually, it looks like there's an open spot on Polygon Networks. And let's see, if you have a curriculum for our cohort in a separate LMS, would you recommend linking to the platform from within our LMS for the ability portion of the platform? That's a really great question. So if you do, that's where I would say for your external LMS, where you're probably the rest of the curriculum makes sense there. I would say the first step is to copy in this public link and add that as a module in your existing LMS so that your users go directly to this page, which I'll show right now, which is the version that can get them into the sessions and into the simulation environment, but without having to log in at all.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've had actually a few clients ask us that question. It's like, I already have a learning experience system. Like, do I need to use all of that functionality? And the answer is obviously no. If you already have a learning if you have a learning management system, if you have a learning experience platform, and you want to just add our individual sessions to that, or add what Trey showed here, this public link, that would be perfectly fine. You still have then the ability on the back end to, anything that's related to our segment of your overall program, to go into our backend with your login, get the survey results, look at the materials there. But anything that you'd like for if you would like for the participants to have a seamless experience and not have to log into another tool, what Trey shows here is, I think, the perfect way of doing it. They don't have to register a login. They see the things that you have in, all of our components, every session, every pre-work in one place with a public link, and no login required. So that's a really good question there, Julie.
Absolutely. So then let's go back to the platform. And I'm going to click through to this executive challenge session, look at the simulation roster. I'm going to take Rick Astley and put him on the Polygon Networks team down here as the director of sales and marketing. And I'll upload that. This all happens oftentimes by our faculty and producers. You're not usually involved in this process at all, but I did want to just point out the sort of how this works in terms of the integration with our simulation. So now I'm here in the webinar, executive challenge simulation, and if I log out, I can just log in as Rick A, and I'm right in with my director one of sales and marketing. And the teams are all managed there, and they're set up with all the groups, and they're in the simulation environment correctly.
Yeah. And again, as my CEO role here, for those of you that are new to Abilitie and want to find out more about what is this executive challenge, we'd be delighted to share that with you. Obviously not on this webinar, but we have some, this is really the heart of our engaging platform that allows you to have people practice their leadership skills in this highly interactive team-based environment. Everyone gets a role. You have to negotiate for resources. You have to make people decisions. You have to make financial decisions. Not to go through a demo here of executive challenge, but as Trey is going back and forth, that is the heart of what we do and what we do so well. Again, the platform that we've built, the portal, is there to create the overall, to give those clients that don't have a learning experience system on the back end the ability to very quickly get up to a program of ours up and running across multiple time zones, multiple sessions with multiple homework assignments, and so on. So,
absolutely. I did want to point out the auto magic button here that does take into account how many people are playing and what the recommended team size is, and puts them directly in. So oftentimes you won't even need to do very much manual assignment. In the very near future, we're going to have some options for what the auto magic button does. Okay, going back to the program overall, let's say it turns out actually the date for the 21st just got moved up. I can go into the program edit mode. I can select the date here. And say, actually, that's supposed to be Friday the 18th, and it's supposed to start at 8 in the morning and go through the 18th on the other side at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, or 6 rather. And now that we've made that change, we're going to see emails sent out to all the registered users, all the faculty members, and everyone associated with the program, including the program manager, with those updated dates. And the great news is that calendar subscription link that I talked about earlier, where I had you subscribe and add that to your Google Calendar, that now is going to reflect the new date. We'll click through a few other items here. I'm not going to go and do a sort of comprehensive overview of all the features, but I will sort of hit the highlights of the platform. This is our resource library. It comes along with each of the programs. If I, for example, set this program up and were to create a copy of it for the future, that's a normal sort of thing that you might do with your learning programs. All of the curriculum that comes along will be pre-set up and added to the sessions. You can download and view these. You can see the slides that the participants will see. There's a PDF version of the slides for preview, and everything that goes along with that program is automatically in the system. We also have the ability to add surveys to the end of each session or the end of the program to a specific session. We gather the survey results automatically. We're using SurveyMonkey as an integration here, but we do think that people generally tend to trust that survey source, and we're looking at options for expanding our survey capability in the future. And of course, the core of the experience is oftentimes for us is these simulations that we add into the learning program. We talked a little bit about facilitator selection, but I just wanted to give you a demo here of, for example, if I did want all of our facilitators who speak Spanish, that would be the group there. We can also add additional conditions or look across by industry experience and so on. I'll clear those out. And lastly, on this screen is the engagement dashboard. So we're talking a lot about tracking and sort of understanding engagement, keeping people engaged. And that's where we built this really interesting tool. And there are the number of people who attended across the sessions, who attended, percentage of attendance per person. But the really interesting data to dive into is how, if we look at our assessments or course data that we can plug in, and that is, by the way, XAPI course support. So any course that has that open XAPI standard can be plugged in and used directly, and we can track the data here. But let's just open up Rita and see that she did finish all of the course, and her quiz results actually seem to, from her pre-assessment to the final assessment, she definitely gained some knowledge. So for Rita, I'd call this a great result. And we can look at the final assessment and just see across everyone. And actually, this tended to be a very highly engaged. Linda Walker is somebody who I would want to check in with and see. And it looks like started off with a lower pre-assessment, did improve, but maybe not to the level that we would want. And so we can dial in with her and say, do we need to go back through and do this course again or a supplementary course? We can also look at task data. Did they complete all the tasks? And tasks can be anything from go out and do this type coach assessment all the way to just click this link and read this article and check the checkbox. Back in the learning portal, you can see that I can say, okay, actually, yeah, now I'm done with the Fluent in Finance course. I checked that box. There are also some features here for the facilitator, and actually for program administration. Again, that makes a lot of sense to dive in here. We can add notes. I noticed Linda didn't do great on the final assessment.
Yeah,
might be great.
So for those of you, and again, some clients here are using a simulation just as a standalone tool in their larger program, but then we have many clients that are using our overarching program. So we have a 12-week-long mini MBA program that puts together many of our simulations, right? And some of our case studies and some of our pre-assessment tools. And so what's really helpful for a facilitator that may be facilitating the third simulation in this mini MBA program is to hear some of the notes from that first facilitator, right? And obviously for you as the client as well, looking at the population of people that are going through, seeing how the facilitator, seeing the comments from the facilitators, right? This class, had some challenges because of the time zone, or for the folks out of San Francisco, this was 6 a.m. so they were pretty tired, right? Those are the types of notes that are going to be really helpful as more and more facilitators kind of enter the program at various stages. For those of you that are using not just one simulation, but using our entire suite of simulations in a larger program like the 12-week MBA.
Absolutely. I want to call it one more thing, which is on the learning dashboard, as well as the program manager or faculty view of the portal. We have this always on chat feature. And so I can say this is Rick A at example.com, and I can say, hey, this is for the webinar, please ignore. We have always on support because we actually would get someone who would jump in immediately and reply to that support message. And you could ask questions about the curriculum, ask questions about the platform. And we do have actually a really great support staff that maintains a very high quick response rate.
Yeah.
Okay, that really is kind of it from what we wanted to highlight from the Marcia asked, does the calendar link to MS Outlook calendar for updates, cancellations, etc.? Yes, it does. If we go to the learning portal and subscribe to calendar, there's a button here. Actually, that button right now is saying print instead of subscribe. It's something that we're in this demo environment, but it uses the open ICS standard for calendar. So you can import that into Outlook or Yahoo Mail or Google Calendar, anything, any sort of calendar system you use. Apple Calendar also works.
Yeah, those are the three, right? Google, Apple, Outlook.
Yeah,
I think those are the big ones. Yeah, and then I think that's going to be very important for many of our clients who've had to manually update calendar links and invites. Now basically telling participants just go to the portal, download the calendar, and then if changes happen, you'll be notified. I think those are the types of improvements that we've heard our clients really wanting to focus on with this portal. Trey, there was one more thing I was going to suggest we can walk through as we're waiting for more Q&As to come in, and that is how to, if you have your own session, let's say you are, you love our standard, business acumen program, and you want to include a 1 hour presentation by your CFO right at the beginning, maybe before this EC session. You simply add that session and you fill in your own session with the start dates, invite your CFO, to that session. And again, this is functionality that you may be used to from your learning experience platform. But if you don't have a learning experience platform, and many of our clients don't have one, or have one that isn't as flexible, that allows them to easily add kind of sessions, tasks, homework assignments. You can see here how easy it is to basically create a quick Zoom meeting with the CFO that you can then put right in front of your executive challenge session. And now it's locked and loaded. It shows up on everyone's calendar, and you have it added. Or if you need to subtract it, let's say the CFO cancels on your last minute, you basically take it out, and it will be deleted on everyone's calendar. So it's simple functions. I know many of you have probably seen some of it in other systems, but many of you that have worked with us have, I think, really expressed a lot of interest in having that flexibility with our system. And now we're able to support not just individual simulations, but really some of these larger programs, like the 12-week MBA that is becoming quite popular with many of our clients, or our 3-week business acumen program, people management programs that have more than just 1 or 2 sessions. We're now able to support them in a much more streamlined way, in the way that Trey's just demoed here. So,
are there any other Q&A questions? We can stay on the interface, so
yeah,
questions there.
Yeah, we can also. I think we're only 4 minutes away from the top of the hour, and I think we thank you guys. There's good participation, and again, great to see some of our valued clients here, as well as some new faces. So if you want to find out more about Abilitie, if this is not what you were expecting, you just wanted to see what do Abilitie simulations look like, we have some really interesting things. We have I guess pre-announce here, we have some a new management AI-enabled management challenge that's coming up. So if you're here and you were like, oh, I just want to find out what Ability does, this webinar may not have given you all of the answers, because we've only really briefly shown you some of our simulations. But we do encourage you to sign up for a quick demo or just talk to us, to show us have us show you the power of our programs and simulations. And for those of you that are existing, hopefully this was helpful to give you a sense for what our new portal, how our new portal is allowing us to serve you better in the future. So, and I think we're close to the end of the hour here. So,
Right.
I
I also just want to thank everybody for coming, and thank you for the questions and participation. I really appreciate it.